Hey everybody, so in this video I'm going to show you how to service your Craftsman ratchet and also make a DIY tool that you're going to need to service this ratchet. So here's the ratchet that we're going to be servicing. It is a flex head quick release ratchet, and it's something that you don't see too often these days. And this one right here has been with me for a while, so now we're going to just go ahead and open her up and clean her up and get her looking shiny and new again. So now we're going to just go ahead and remove this C-clip right here, and we're going to take our pliers and just kind of work with it. It's a little tight, so just, be a little careful right there when you remove the clip and set it off to the side. Then we'll go ahead and remove our quick release gearing with the protective plate. It's kind of like a two-piece thing, but it comes out together. It's just easier that way. So then from there, we'll just go ahead and separate our plate. And then here, you can see our quick release gearing. And it's really dirty, just grimy, greasy, lots of hard work been put into it. So next, we're going to remove our drive select gearing, but you can see that ball bearing right there that sits there. When you remove that drive select gearing, be careful that that ball bearing doesn't pop out because it is spring loaded. So it's good to cover the hole behind you with your hand and just be very patient, very slow, because you don't want that ball bearing to just pop out and run away from you. So there you can see it wasn't too bad. It just kind of rolled out right there. And so we'll just go ahead and remove that. Make sure that you're in complete control of that ball bearing. You don't want to do anything too abrupt, or you don't want to shock the ratchet and lose the ball bearing. So it came out fairly easily. This was a good one. Good example right here. And now we're going to remove our drive select switch right here, the drive select lever. And now we're just going to remove our spring, and that spring is what the ball bearing sits on, and so we're just going to go ahead and remove that. And now we're going to take some WD-40, some paper towels, and we're just going to go and just give this a good proper cleaning. And all these parts are just, they're rugged, they're built tough, so we can just really just kind of clean it up with paper towel and WD-40, and that'll get them back to new. But if you would like to go one step further, you can put it in an ultrasonic tank. I've done it before, and it does a little bit better, but the WD-40 and the paper towel works great. So now you can see here's all the parts nice and clean. Right there's the quick release gearing, and it looks just sparkling new again, along with the wear points, but aged like fine wine. And here's the protective plate. Everything looks nice. The drive select lever, and there's the C-clip. So everything's nice and clean. So the WD-40 and the paper towel did a great job. If you want to take it a step further, you can even use like some Scotch-Brite or something like that, but that's kind of unnecessary. So now we're going to put our spring back in the service hole, and we're going to oil it. The oil kind of helps to hold the bearing in place along with just lubricating it. So we're going to set the bearing nice and easy. And here's the tool that I'm going to show you how to make. You're going to need this tool to service your Craftsman ratchet. And I'm going to show you how to make this DIY tool, because the tool that I'm using is a DIY. I made it myself, and it works great. And so you see there that you're going to hold down the ball bearing, and once you have the ball bearing held in place, then we're going to go ahead and put our drive select lever inside from the back first, and let it sit kind of on, let it sit on like the little in cut. And then from there, we're going to take our drive select gearing, and this is the flat side. You want the flat side facing toward us. And then we're going to go ahead and slide that in, and you want to fit the shape of the hole into the gear select lever right there. You want to make sure that that fits in place, and you might have to push up the gearing a little bit just so that everything fits in perfectly and nicely. And then once it does, once you get everything to fit in, then you can remove your tool and the bearing will stay in place. And you can see now we have everything in place, the bearings in place, and the drive select gearing along with the drive select lever. Everything is nice and flush and looking good, and we'll just test it out and we can see that everything is working great. So far our Craftsman ratchet is coming together nicely. So now we're going to take our quick release gearing and we're going to oil the gearing or the teeth on this. And this oil right here is a home blend. It's a home brew that I made myself, but you can use some super lube medium weight. That should work just fine. And now we're going to go ahead and just rotate that lever just a little bit in so that we can get our quick release gearing to fit in place. And then we're going to test everything out just to make sure that everything works perfectly, and it does. So everything looks nice. And now once we have everything in place, we're going to go ahead and put that protective plate back on, and the plate will just slide in like that. Make sure that it falls all the way down. See, you don't want it to kind of sit too high up. And then we'll take our C-clamp, and then we'll just go ahead and line up our C-clamp right there. Or our C-clip, I guess you could say. Not really a clamp, but we'll just take our C-clip, and we'll just go ahead and install that back. Now, the C-clip sits inside of a channel on the ratchet. See, like right there, how it's sitting under the metal. So you want to make sure that the C-clip is seated properly. Now we'll give it another quick test with our drive select lever, and we'll go ahead and put on a socket. And this is a 19 millimeter 3/4 inch socket made in the USA, and it's fitting good. The quick release is holding, and it's clicking just fine. So nice and smooth, nice positive clicks, and everything's great. So here's the ratchet, nice and clean now. So now I'm going to show you how to make this DIY tool for your Craftsman ratchet so that you can service this ratchet and you don't have to worry about looking for tools. All you're going to need is a cotter pin. So here you can see this is like the little service kit that you get, but you just don't get this tool. And so it's an easy tool to make, thankfully. So you're just going to take a really large cotter pin, and you can see here that little hole, that dimple. That dimple is very important. That's kind of my own personal touch, and that just holds the ball bearing in place. And you can see if this was the ball bearing, this is kind of an example, but if this is the ball bearing, then this DIY tool will just sit on top of the bearing and hold it in place while you install the drive select gearing. So here's our cotter pin. We're just going to take a flathead screwdriver, slide it through all the way down about halfway or as far as we can get it, and then we're just going to turn that screwdriver 90 degrees just to open it up, just like that. Once we have it open, then we'll just take our needle nose pliers just so we can hold one side down and pull the other side open just enough so that we can get our hands on both sides and really open it up a lot wider. So you can see here, this is the cotter pin, and we're just going to go ahead and open it up. And you're going to have to use a little bit of force because this is a big cotter pin, so it's pretty strong. And now we still have this little bend at the very edge. So we're going to take our needle nose pliers again, and we're just going to eliminate that bend by pinching at the bend and then bending it downwards. And you can see there it got rid of the bend, made it straight. We're going to do the same to the other side, just like that. Go ahead and take the needle nose pliers, pinch it down, and then bend it. So now we got rid of those bends, and we just have one bend that we're going to bend later at the very end. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and open it up so that it's got like a 90-degree L. So it looks like an L. And that is so that we just can hold it better, because if it's completely flat, it's a little bit difficult to hold. So now, speaking of flat, the flat side and the round side, we're going to go ahead and just, make a little tap dimple on the flat side so that we can drill the dimple on this. And remember, we don't want to drill a hole. We don't want to even drill too big of a dimple. And so here's the rounded part that I'm talking about. And we're going to take our file and we're going to file the top, and then we're also going to file the edges, or the sides, I should say. So this is the side, and we're going to file both sides along with the top, but not the flat end, just the rounded part. And so the final result should look like this. So it's flat on the top and it's kind of tapered on the sides, and you have the dimple to hold the ball bearing on the bottom side. Then we're going to go ahead and take our needle nose pliers and just kind of bend it a little bit. But you want to really make sure that it's a nice solid 90-degree bend. And so that 90-degree bend is very important for when we go to service our Craftsman ratchet. And now that is a very nice bend. So now we're going to go ahead and take our needle nose pliers and bend the bottom part, the L part, back the other way. So we're going to reverse the bend, and we want to do that slowly so that we don't weaken the metal or cause it to break. So as you can see there, it looks like a bird. Yes, a bird. And you can see there that this is a test. We're kind of just testing it out to see if it's going to fit. There's a bearing on the flex head right there of the Craftsman ratchet. So you can see that it's flush. It's pretty much flush. If it went in deeper, it would be flush with the ratchet. Another way you can tell, or you can do a quick test, is to fit it in between the ratchet head and the handle, or the flex head and the handle. And you can see that it's pretty flush. And so we know that our tool is good and it's going to work. And so as you can see, it is an exact copy of the original one that I used to service this ratchet at the beginning of this video. So we have twin birds, and now we can take our tool and put it into our service kit. And now our service kit is complete. And we didn't even have to go out looking for a professional tool. The DIY tool works. Thanks everybody for watching. I really appreciate your time and support. And if you like this video, please go ahead and go ahead and like and subscribe. And until then, I'll see you guys next time.